Hey, hey friends, come on in. We are committed now to this crazy peanut brittle pecan bacon stuff. So take 3 is coming your way right now. So what have I done? Well, I did what any good crafter does when they're struggling with a project. I phoned a friend and I've done that. And I got a hold of my sweet friend Velma, who makes the best peanut brittle I've ever had. And I said, girl, can I have your recipe? So she was generous enough to share it with me. And we're going to see if using her brittle recipe, but adding our ingredients, will get us a successful brittle. I don't know. Hi, Diane. Good to see you. So I have already chopped and cooked my bacon. Okay, so I'm just pouring off my bacon grease here to get it out of my skillet and get the skillet out of the way. So I'm just putting it in my little ramekin dish. I did not, hey Kendra, I didn't candy the bacon today. So what I have here, there's my Adeline, yep. I have 1 pound of just chopped crispy bacon, and I have about 2 cups of pecans that I have toasted and broken. Okay. Now this is a bigger recipe, so my first prayer is that we don't exceed the confines of our pot, because I'm sticking with the pot. I think is going to give us the the best result. So in this pot I have 3 cups of white sugar, and I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of water and 1 whole cup of Karo syrup. So this recipe is going to make about twice as much brittle as the other recipe, but I'm not going with any more pecans or bacon because I had doubled those up in the other recipe. And besides, y'all, this is one expensive mess I'm making here at this point. So here we go. So I'm going to get this started on a medium-high temperature, and Miss Velma told me to stir this mixture until, me too, Christina, me too, until my sugar melts and it begins to look like it's going to simmer. So I don't have to stir it constantly until it comes to a boil. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. I don't know. Can I do it? Right now, I don't have any confidence at all, but we're committed now. I am committed to this. Okay. So I have it stirred together, and we're going to let that pot begin to warm up. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do different today is I am going to bring this brittle all the way up to where I need it, the 300 degrees. Between 300 and 310 is the stage we need our candy to. And I'm going to bring this brittle all the way up to that stage before I add my pecans, because they're already toasted and they don't need to cook at all. My bacon, which is already fully cooked and crispy. And I'm going to add it at the same time I add my bourbon and vanilla. And then I'm going to stir that up really fast and then add in my baking soda. And we're going to try that. I don't know, you guys. If this one doesn't work, I got 1 more pound of bacon left. And then I don't know what we're going to do. Give up, I guess. I also have 2 baking sheets because Miss Velma says she divides hers onto 2 baking sheets. And I have lined them with parchment paper. Okay, so they are here. And Miss Adeline's got a runny nose today. And I'll move the big bottle of bourbon out of the clear camera shot, although there it is right there. That is so difficult for me to even have that visible. But this recipe calls for it, and it's pretty good in there. And it's going to work. Oh, Jane, thank you for your confidence. We'll see. We'll see how confident we feel here in a little bit. Okay. Stirring, stirring, stirring. This cannot be this hard, y'all. It just can't be. I think what happened last time Oh, thank you for the stars. Oh my gosh. I will tell you that I believe what happened last time because we were doing great. Thank you, Kendra. We were just doing fantastic until the last. And when I stirred in the pecans and stuff, the candy stuck to my candy thermometer, hard like a brick. And again, then it did not read the right temperature. Good morning, Missy. And the temperature went down because of the cold candy was on it. And then I burned it. And it smelled bad. It was super dark brown, and I couldn't even break it, much less bite it. You're hungry? Well, I don't know whether this will help. I don't know. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get this to boil. We're going to set our candy thermometer. We're going to bring it up to temperature, and then we're going to see what we can do here. Maybe. I don't know, Becky. I don't know. I don't know. But we're going to spend some time and we're going to try again. You think there ought to be a way to do it, right? Hey, Michelle Joseph. Hello. Hello. How are you guys? Miss Adeline is in a good mood today, but she's very loud. She's found her voice, y'all. We wondered whether she would, but she did. So she's talking a lot. She's been shaking my pot rack over there. Yeah. 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 Here you go. There you go. So once we start this, whether she gets unhappy or not, we got to finish it. You cannot leave a brittle or a hard candy in the middle of the process. So we're stuck. So if she gets to screaming, we're just gonna have to listen, I guess. Okay. A little bitty fleck of something in there. We're gonna fish that out before it gets too hot. There we go. In my kitchen, that could be about anything. It looked like a fleck of pepper, so I was probably grinding pepper into a pot next to it. And in it went. In it went. Get him, Madeline. Get him, girl. Here, you want to come a little closer? There you go. Talk to the girls. And talk to the girls. Look. You say hi. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you. We were laughing so hard the other day. I have this phone stand here that my phone sits on when I film, and I just move it from my table to in here, to out in the craft hut, to wherever it needs to go. And Adeline has gotten so used to it now. The first thing she does when I set her down is she looks to see if the phone's on, see if she's in there or not. I'm going to see if I can grab her a quick cracker. Crackers help everything. Yeah, something she can munch on while we work here. Here we go. Oh dear. There we go. Would you like a cracker? Yes? Okay. Would you like two? No, not yet? Okay. Crackers help everything. Hey, Ellen, how are you? Or at least that's my opinion. Can't go wrong with a cracker. And the dogs love this new stage of life when Adeline's got a cracker. Yeah, because that means some of that cracker is bound to end up on the floor. Uh-huh. Okay, I'm going to warm this up just a little bit. My stove burners, you got to learn your stove burners. Now, I cook on a gas range, and I am kind of stuck on that. I don't like an electric range at all. But you have to learn your numbers. So mine only has 6 numbers, and 4 is pretty cold and 5 is pretty hot. So right in between those two. So I'm going to warm it up a little bit further. And then once it begins to simmer, we put it all the way over on the highest temperature your pot will allow and let it rip and see if we can get it to go up to enough temperature. So if you're hopping on new, we're working on the bacon pecan brittle for the 3rd time, and hoping for success today. I don't know don't know. Yeah, gas was, that was one of the first questions. So you guys probably know, but you might not, that we renovated an old garage into our home when we moved here. And it had sat vacant for about 10 years. The older couple who lived here had used it for their hobby. And, oh, you're making candy too. Had used it as their hobby shed. She did some canning down here. He did some woodworking and welding and stuff. But they hadn't been able to use it for years when we moved here. And the first question was, did it have gas run to the house? Because there's natural gas here in town. And it did. And if not, that would have had to have happened. It just would have had to. First of all, I've been cooking now on gas so long that I don't do electric very well. I tend to burn everything because I'm not used to it. Now, we have talked about the brand new induction ones. I don't know if any of you have one, that the heat changes so rapidly on those that maybe I could get it to work. Oh, eating a cracker. She got some and she spits it right back out. Cracker in, cracker out. All right, come on. Let's give it a little look. Okay, I have a tiny, I don't know if you can see it right down in here. We're just starting to get a bubble around the edge. We're going to give it one more stir. I cannot feel any more sugar granules, although it didn't clear up today. It's still very white, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. Okay. So I stir it down, and then I look to see if it bubbles right back up, because that's kind of my teller, whether it's really boiling or not. And no, I've stirred it down and the bubble didn't return. So I'm going to give it another minute or so of good stirring, and then we'll check it again. Yes. Is it good? Is it good, Cracker Adeline? My other concern is whether my pot's going to hold it once we get all the stuff in there. So, yeah. I guess worst comes to worst, we can scatter the goodies on the pan and pour the brittle over it. I don't know, guys. Okay, let's give it a look. I'm going to switch from my rubber spatula to a wooden spoon. Nice long-handled skinny one. You're building. Oh, wow. I want to know, Michelle, what you guys decide. Now, some of my son's friends have switched over to the new style electric inductions, and they really like them. And they say that they're as responsive as a gas stove. And if that's the case, I would consider it. Just not have to mess with having gas come into the house just to run my stove. But I am pretty strong opinioned about it. Okay, it's starting to roll, and we're starting to get a little simmer. I'm going to bring the heat up as high as I can and keep the flames under my pot. Okay, because in this pot, my stove burner is really big and round, so you got to get it there. I'm going to set my spoon, and I'm going to clip in my thermometer. You got to get your thermometer to where it's in your candy and not touching the pot, which will be a little easier today because we have more candy in the pot. And then let's turn it around so we can see it. Okay, we have a gentle bubble. We have thermometer in place. That's right. That's right. We got Miss Adeline telling us a story. There we go. And we're going to let this go all the way up to about 290 degrees. And then I'm going to add in some of the bourbon. And that's about it at that stage. And then we're going to let it go ahead and come on up to the 300 to 310 range. And then just before pouring it out, I'm going to stir in the bacon and pecans. And then I'm going to go back in with the baking soda that makes it bubble. And we'll see. We'll see. I hope it works. You know, that stuff that was chewy, it was really delicious. And if it hadn't tasted good, I probably would have just said, oh, forget it. But it tasted really good. So I'd really like to make it work. So a reminder, if you're going to try to make brittle, and after watching me, you may never try it again, make sure when your cooking gets to this stage, if you have not yet, get everything out and measured and ready to go. So again, I have my bacon and pecans, which are my last minute add-ins. I have my bourbon and vanilla poured up here. I have my baking soda ready to go with the measuring spoon that I need. Okay, so it's ready to go. I have my butter pulled out here. Wow, we threw those pans in the floor. Was that scary? Okay, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. I have some butter. It's gonna go in, and I don't have very much butter today. This butter is gonna go in when I add that bourbon at like 290, right? Yeah, so a little bit of butter. You can either put your butter in your brittle, or you can butter your pans and not butter your brittle. So there's just a choice. Tammy, we are trying take number 3 on the bacon pecan brittle. I have called a friend. I phoned a friend. My sweet friend Velma makes the best brittle I ever had. So I begged her for her recipe and she agreed to share it. And this is take 3, Tammy. Hey, Rose. And we're going to see. We're adjusting it completely. I threw out the other recipe. We're going with Velma's brittle recipe. And we're going to try stirring in the bacon and pecans at the very end so none of that can burn. Heck, guys, I don't know. Let's hope third time is a charm, Christina. Let's hope. All right, now we got a great boil going on, and we're up above 200 degrees. You do not stir your brittle once it gets to this stage. You just don't do it. You're just going to let it bubble and read on the thermometer undisturbed. I love it, Michelle. I absolutely love it. And I don't know why I can't get this to work. I don't know. And I always swore I would never come on live cooking with a recipe that I didn't know would work. And I did that. I did not know that the brittle wouldn't work. And so I did it. And now we're going to get it right. I don't care. I may have $500 worth of bacon in this brittle before we're done. One way or another. One way or another. Okay. Yeah. Another little trick, if your pan will allow it, is to set your clip at the temperature you're looking for on your candy. I don't know if you guys have ever done much candy making. I make pralines, which are so good, and you have to have a pretty specific temperature for that. And a lot of times you can see it's gotten steamy already and it gets kind of hard to read. So if my pot is tall enough, like today our candy is pretty deep in there, I can set my little holder, my little metal ring that's holding it to the pot, at a place where it gives me the temperature. So instead of trying to eyeball exactly where it's at, I know when it gets at the top of my clipper. There we go. I spit it out. That's the right temperature. So we're about 225. Oh, you guys. I don't know. I think I may miss the candied bacon because I didn't put it back in the pan to get the brown sugar on it. Candied nuts. I have done them in the past, and I love them, and we should do them. I like them both ways. I like them sweet candied, and I like them spicy. So I usually do those around the holidays. Thank you for the reminder. I will dig out my recipe, and maybe we'll do some of each way here in the next couple of days. All right. Da-da-da-da-da. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. I know you're tempted. I know you're very tempted, but we're not gonna. We're not gonna do it. All right, I'm gonna grab another stick of butter out of the fridge just to have it. All right. Let's hope, Capri, when I make them, they're easier on me. What do you think? I have made them successfully many times, so we should do okay. I used to make them all the time because I like to make little gifts for like my kids' Sunday school teachers and stuff. And I always like to make some savory treats, especially for the guys, if that sounds silly. All right, well then that's what we'll do. We'll get it on our list. All right, we're at about 2:35. I know, you have got to leave it alone, just like your fried potatoes, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna warm up my heat just a little bit more. I have to watch my flame, I'll just tell you, because this burner is so big around, the flames will come outside of my pot around the edges, and I don't get the best results that way. So although it says to crank this up on high, if I did that, my flames would be wrapping around the outside of my pot. So I gotta try to leave it just hot enough, as high as I can, but under the pot, if that makes sense. Because this is the power burner, it says. I know, Capri, I feel like I need to help it, right? Yes, absolutely. I feel like I need to help it. All right, about 2:45. 2:45. One of the cracker, baby girl? Huh? Another one? We don't eat very many crackers, but we tear up a bunch. We tear up a bunch of crack. We tear up some crackers around this house with Miss Adeline. Yeah. So tell me, what are you guys doing today? What are you up to? I'm going to try to ignore that. I love candied pecans. I do too. You know, that is the one booth at like a fair that I can smell from half a mile away, and it carries me. You know, Pepe Le Pew, the little skunk guy from the old cartoons, that the smell of something would just pick him up and kind of carry him to it. Candied pecans and popcorn will do that to me. I swear, I can smell it and just go. Just go. I don't know, Debbie, Fritz, does it matter? I don't know. That's a good question. If it matters how hot you get up to temperature, it does say to put it on high. I don't know. I never thought about that mattering, as long as it got to the right temperature, if it had to go fast enough. Christina, I know. And I can be at a big craft fair and come home and the only thing I bought is candied nuts. Or the last time I went to that great big, I think I called it the Boozy Bougie Boutique shopping event for the ladies. All I brought home was, what was it? Toffee from a local toffee maker. There it is. Yeah, so there you go. Oh my gosh, your granddaughter and the new puppy. I bet you're exhausted. Yeah, both. Okay, creeping up there. We're going to go all the way up to at least 290, and then we're going to add in some of the bourbon and let the alcohol cook out of that. And then we're just going to let it go until it gets all the way to where we want it and put it that. You always buy the goodies? I do. I can walk past 1,000 crafting booths, which is odd. But I very rarely buy a craft, right? We go there to buy ideas, maybe. But I will almost always buy a local made treat, because you don't always know those companies are around. I had no idea that we had this great toffee company, Cedar Street Toffee Company, right here in Kansas City. And so how cool is that? I love that. Love, love, love it. Oh, I lost my, there it is. We're getting there. We're at about 275. 275. Did you find them? The toffee bits and the caramel bits? Took you forever? My Walmart puts out a big baking aisle right out in the middle of things around the holidays, and usually that helps me. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close. I'm nervous. Okay. So I have in here about 2 tablespoons of bourbon and about a tablespoon of vanilla. I shouldn't have mixed them because we really don't want the vanilla to cook out, but I already did it. So I'm going to just add it in at this stage, and that's all I'm adding here, okay? And I'm not going to stir it. It's going to mix in. And we just hit 300 degrees. All right? So I'm going to pull my thermometer. We have a nice amber color, or at least it's starting to. Remember, we looked for that amber color last time. And look, this time it's real pale. I don't know what to think. Again, she doesn't know what to think. But our thermometer says 300. So we're just going to move forward like we know what we're doing. In goes my butter. I got about 2 tablespoons of butter. In goes my pecans and my bacon, all cooked up and ready to go. Okay. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Okay, that's going to give me my foamy. And here we go. Stir, 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 stir to combine. All right, now if I was putting bets on this one, I would absolutely say it's not going to set because it's not dark enough. But we'll see. And we're going to pour it on 2 pans because that's what Velma does. And she says she does not really spread hers. She just lets gravity do the work. All right. If this one doesn't work, y'all, I think we're just going to have to call it quits for this year's experiment with Brittle. And I don't know, the color's all wrong. What do you think? The color is all wrong. Although the temperature was exactly right, we don't have that deep amber color we normally get. So, here we go. It's got to sit and cool completely before we know if it cracks. So I'm going to give it about a half an hour. And I'll let you know. I'll report back in again and see. It does have, can you see this that's left? How the string, see that? So we've got a good hope right there. All right. You guys have a great morning. The Crafty Bunch starts in about an hour and a half. Miss Grace with the Comfy Nest with Grace is coming in first as a guest presenter. And I hope you'll join her. And I will see you guys later. I'll send you a report. Heck, I don't know. And if it doesn't work, I don't know what else to do. See you guys later. Bye.